Welcome back to the 2024 character modeling series for beginners in Blender. In this video, we're gonna finally look at the retopology process. I'm gonna take you through everything and hopefully we can preferably finish it in one video, but let's see how it goes. Before I start, make sure you join the Discord. Link is in the description below. You can ask all your questions over there, but you can also share your art. I'm just trying to build this thing, so yeah, come on by and say hello. Here is our project file, and if you've been following along since part 1, you will have the spatula, salt shaker, and the egg girl all in one blend file, you see. So I'm gonna turn off the reference because we don't need that anymore. Now we're gonna talk about retopology, right? Because if I enable wireframe for a second, this is not optimized for a video game. And I know, like, if you've been following the news, Unreal Engine 5.5 will have skeletal mesh nanites and whatnot, but still, it's not a good workflow, okay? So don't rely on any band-aid fixes, but actually understand why it is done the way it is done. So, like, for instance, right now, our mesh exists out of loose bits, right? Our character has separate tongue, eyes, eyelashes, eyebrows, all that. So there's actually a number of ways we could do this. We could say, I'm gonna grab each and every single piece of the mesh and I'm gonna retopologize them separately and then put them back together like this. And then in game, if I needed to like hide some parts or whatnot, I could still do that, right? Or you can say, I'm gonna retopo the whole thing as like one piece, so the hoodie would not be able to to be removed or anything like that. It would basically be merged with the character. So I'm gonna do a combination of those things, but feel free to pick whichever one you want to do. And also, considering we've modeled these objects over here, we don't need to retopo these. The topology is already very nice. We can just work on a sub D level 1 maybe, and then optimize from there. So I'm gonna hide these guys, and I'm gonna make a new folder, a new collection if you will, and call it retopo. And you can give it a color if you want. So stay organized. So I'm gonna, let's see, center my cursor. I'm gonna press Shift A, mesh, single vert, add single vert, or you can add a plane or whatever you want to add, but I like to start with a single vert. And you're in edit mode, so let me just select it, wherever it may be. It's right over there. And yeah, I'm gonna enable the snap tool and set it to face project. There you go. There is our vertex, right? All right. So as I was saying earlier, you can retopo separately or as one joint object. I think what I'm gonna do is let's see. All right, I'm gonna retopologize the hair separately, and then everything else on here will be retopoed as one joint object. Okay, so usually I start with the face, but I guess let's start with the hair. So let me select my two objects and hide everything else, and let's position my vertex over here and extrude some shapes. And with the topology, you generally want to follow the flow of the model, right? So if I were to like draw the topo flow in here, I would say like absolutely go with like the topology over there, go with the flow of the model like that, and then wherever we place these creases, try to like stick to it. It doesn't really matter because this is going to be a static object, even if it has wiggle to it, it's not going to matter too much. And also don't add, this is going to be a low poly character, so don't add too much vertices and whatnot. So let's see, this is going to do this. Yeah, don't really have to be too specific with it. I'm going to add one shrink wrap modifier here. And for the target, I'll set the mesh here. Or maybe a level 1 sub D and put it before. So this might also be something that you don't want to do, like depending on how high poly it gets. I could put this subdivision modifier on here and then maybe later just remove it. So it depends, It also helps to uncheck optimal display so you can actually see how dense it is. So right now it's honestly not that dense, but we'll see. So let's and remember, when it comes to creating a lower poly mesh that you will bake all the details on. You don't need to cover every little detail on the high poly mesh. You have to maintain the structure of the mesh, so the silhouette should be more important than the actual, like for instance this yoke, I could maybe skip it, right, and just go over it and maybe skip the creases. That's far more that's far more forgiving than, for instance, these blobs. If I don't cover all edges here, you're gonna see it in the final mesh, and that's gonna look ugly. And another thing, like with faces and stuff that's gonna be animated, generally stick to quads. That's good topology, because with good topology and good topology flow, it's gonna also make your life a bit easier when you're like marking seams for the UV unwrapping, or like especially if the object is gonna be animated, then you should actually do that. For video game models, they're gonna get triangulated anyway, but still you should decide if it's really that important or not. So for instance, this mesh could turn into, it will be static, like I said, so I might not need all this detail, and I could later on maybe, merge some of these quads into triangles, or to make the mesh more optimized, but that depends, So let me just trace the silhouette here. And yeah, with Retopology, just put on like a podcast or something. This is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna show you how I do it uninterrupted without any sped up footage. But yeah, generally you wanna cover all the stuff as quickly as possible. And when you fill a face, it's gonna be all over the place, so just make sure you select everything, hit Alt N, and recalculate outside so your normals are facing the right way. Okay, let's see what we got over here. And here's a trick: instead of extruding and placing, you can control right click, and it works for everything. So I can select an edge, control right click, and it will extrude it exactly where I pointed it at. Let's see. So in this case, I don't want to add another edge loop here because that's going to loop all the way to the back. So I'm just going to select these two and fill it, and then you get a triangle here. But like I said, it doesn't matter in this case. And yeah, when you're online and you see like on whatever Reddit or shit like that, people tearing each other apart over topology flaws, and you really have to like ask yourself at a certain point, like, what is your priority here? What are you trying to do? Because if you're going to show off your topology in your portfolio, like, I guess then it's important, of course, to make sure your topology is actually really well, because you're showing it off. So but if you're creating like a model that's for an asset or something, and for a video game or something, you're asking people online if the topology is good. If the final model looks alright, even with crap topology or mediocre topology, I'll say, who cares? As long as it doesn't ruin the performance of your game, then it's whatever. And there's plenty of games out there that have mediocre topology, or you would like see super pointy, like square looking models. Anyway, okay, right now I notice the model is getting... See, here's the thing. I didn't set up a topology budget. Like if I go in here and I select statistics, I can see like if I select my mesh, it's 718 triangles, and we're looking at triangles, not faces. If I subdivide it, It is actually at 718. If I unsubdivide it, it's 180. So I'll have to decide, because 700 is not bad, you know. But maybe let's give myself a, I don't know, 15 or 20,000 triangles for the whole thing. We'll see. I'll say, just to be safe, I'll say 30,000 is the max. And it's nice to give yourself a challenge like that. I've been making, if you checked out my recent live stream, which I very much doubt you saw it live because there were like a handful of people in there. But by the way, I think I'll do more of those live streams, because they're easy to set up, and you know, they're very nice to like. It also like takes me away for a second to just model and do something, and hopefully at the same time entertain you with stuff. And I don't know, I didn't really plan any of it. I just went in head first and figured, let's just figure it out that way. And now, after the first stream, I think it was, you know, might have some ideas for the future, like modeling something in, like assuming I would have viewers that engage with me, that would decide on the design of something live. For instance, I'm currently modeling a space station. So what I did was I went on some AI website and prompted space station, and you know, I just clicked through it until I saw one that looked kind of cool, and I went with that. You know, I didn't really think much of it. There was, you know, it was very detailed, but at the same time I was like, you know, it's a nice little challenge. But I can imagine, like, if that was something to be big, that people could just opt in and say, hey, you should add this or that or whatever. By the way, what I did over there using the Loop Tools add-on, I believe I've showed this before, haven't I? I'm not sure. Let me show you. So go into Edit, Preferences, and then in add-ons, just type in Loop Tools and just check it, and make sure you click Save Preferences. It's a cool little transition, isn't it? I still have to make a couple more screens for my for the streaming stuff. So like a beginning screen. I do have a beginning screen, an ending screen maybe. We'll see. If you wanna split a vertex like this, you can press V, and there you go, you tear it apart. Let's see, add some of that. We're almost there, but I'm just looking at the recording right now. It's sitting at 22 minutes, and it will probably be shorter in the video. because I'll be cutting some of the stuff up. But still, though, retopology takes a long time, so this is probably going to be another series, you know, like of retopology videos similar to like sculpting. Sculpting had like 3 videos, I think. But honestly, I just I want to go through this whole series as quick as I can, and yeah, I don't know, call it a day. So let's join some of these together, create a quad like that. Another thing that you can do if you want to be really precise about, you know, what your mesh is going to look like if it after it's triangulated and imported in Unity or Unreal, you can add a triangulate modifier, and you can already like look at it before, like, you know, and it's non-destructive, so you can just turn it on and off. And yeah, it's a good way to like, because you see it does change the shape a bit, but you know, generally it doesn't. Like I said, if you're really precise about it, you might need that when you follow through with the shape. And in this case, I'm just gonna select the knife tool and cut all. It's kind of hard to see, but cut all the way down here, and then connect these two together. So I'm looking at if I have enough vertices on each side, so I can connect these and these. Okay, that's perfect. I could just press F. There you go. Very well. So that's one. And let's see, select these. I can space them out more evenly like that. And there's 3 vertices that we need to connect. I can press Control R to add, well, an edge loop, but in this case it's going to add vertices, and then either scroll up or press 3 on the keyboard. By the way, when it creates it, it will not stick it to the surface, so just press G to move it, and then it will stick, and then just left click, boom, just like that. Then here, this one will kind of like divert it that way, like this. So you're almost done. So if I were to remove this subdivision, then we would have to add a few more edge loops. I'll keep it on for now. And let's see, I also want to cover the inside here because it will be removable, but I don't want to add too much detail. So I'll just divert it over there, and I do it with all of them like that. I'll fill these. And there's going to be a lot of triangles down here. And that's fine because this is like a graveyard for the topology, so no one's gonna see this. So we can merge some of this stuff. And just draw another topology flow through here. And then we can add and subtract stuff. Let's see. And then just add a couple over here. So it's going to be less in contrast. But yeah, that's kind of the whole point. Okay. And then finally, one more. So just this a bit. I'm gonna extrude this one more time, scale it down, and then just merge at center. You know, I use the shortcut there, but you can select it, go to mesh, merge. See, for me it says button 4 on the mouse. Yeah, it's the same thing, merge at center, and then you just have it like that. So what's going on here? I have an anomaly. So stuff like this happens, just select it and delete the vertices and just rebuild it, because sometimes it's faster to just rebuild something quickly. So in this case I could just select these, bring them down, space them out. I'll select all of them, fill everything again. And there we go, that's the topology for the hair mesh. Let's see, with the subdivision, it's sitting at 2.2k almost triangles. Without, we're sitting at 500. But you see how the silhouette isn't the same, like it's just cutting through this. Whereas with it will be much better. So what we can do is we can apply the subdivision. First, let's make a copy. Can apply this and just solo it for a second. You know what, apply the shrink wrap as well, and then the triangulate, we don't need to apply that. And then let's have a look at the model. Turn off snap. I'm holding down control and I'm clicking, so the flow is selecting everything in between. And I can press X, dissolve edges, and I can kind of try my luck at dissolving as many as I can. And at the same time, I'm keeping an eye out on the mesh, making sure it doesn't, the topology isn't completely ruined. You might say, well, what's the point of retopoing everything if you're gonna then proceed to remove stuff? Couldn't you just retopo it like that from the beginning? You can do it, but I mean, I like doing it this way myself because it's more time efficient, for me at least. You might disagree with that. Let's see, if I delete that, it's gonna be hooked. Let's keep that in there. Let's see if we can bring it down a bit lower. And then fill these gaps. Let's see. We need it all the way up until this point, after which we don't really need the topology here, so I could just press GG, slide it over, and then merge by distance, and that just burned 12 vertices. See? Let's cut it off over there. So check that, merge, and I think that's about it really. Can burn those as well. So Look, in this case, I gave myself, I wanted to like optimize this all the way to 1,000 triangles, and I'm basically sitting there. If we look at this side by side with the original, like that, this is a prettier topology, of course. And I could probably just, go with this one, 2,000 for a hair mesh. It's not that bad, especially if the whole model has a 30K limit. Her hair makes up quite a bit of her whole body, so 2K for the hair mesh isn't that bad. That being said, if you're not using Unreal Engine, well, 5.5 isn't out yet, so you cannot rely on nanites for your skeletal mesh. You're gonna have to do it with traditional LODs. But if you're not using Unreal, like if you use Unity or another engine, you're gonna need to know how to create your own LODs. And the way that I just showed you, where you just, you're burning, you're dissolving edge loops and vertices, is a good way to create your LODs. Yeah, I think I'll just go with the lower poly mesh because I really want to just push the most out of these very low poly models. So this one is like half of the weight of this one, and yeah, we will be able to bake everything onto it and make it look nice. So this video has been going on for a while now, and considering it's just retopologizing a hair mesh, it's kind of ridiculous that it's taking this long, right? But hey, that's how it is. So the next video I will go over retopologizing the head, and yeah, we'll see like how far that gets. Usually like doing the face and the head kind of takes a little bit of time, but yeah, like I said, we'll see. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell notification icon as well. Join the Discord, link in the description below. It would do me a huge favor because I just want to build that little community there. Leave a comment down below about what you liked, what you learned. Even if you didn't learn anything, you could just let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. So make sure you, you stick around. Yeah. All right. See you in the next video.